Hey guys, sorry for my tired look. I am so tired and in pain, but I was persevering for this. So, welcome to Vlogmas Day 14. It has never looked so sad. So, I was in a bunch of pain last night to the point where if I was still in that much pain, you wouldn't have been getting a video today. But luckily, I feel a lot better. I have a wisdom tooth growing back in because I don't know why it wants to come back. I didn't want it. I was fine without it, but it's coming back, and I already grind my teeth. I have a mouth guard in, and it got like the pain was so much. I was grinding my teeth like I had locked. Like my jaw was just like so tense. I was biting down so hard. It started hurting my other teeth, and I was getting the biggest headache, and it was just the worst. So luckily, I put this in today as soon as it started hurting and has minimized the pain a whole bunch. Like, there's still pain, but not as much as I was down and out for the count last night. Like, So, moving on from that, let's talk about this discussion video. We're going to be discussing the publication, the chronological, or maybe you're just not reading in order at all. Although I feel like I know very few people who would, like, not read in order at all. For me, it just depends like on the series, whether I do any of these things and like what the book is about. These days though, I'm more prone to reading in order of stuff, whether it be publication or chronological order. And publication order is where say we have City of Bones, then we have City of Angels, and then we have City of Bones, and then we have City of Ashes, and then we have City of Glass. ke-sha, get with it, get with the times. And then we have Clockwork Angel, which is the start of another series, but they both take place in the same world. And then we have City of Fallen Angels, and then we have Clockwork Prince, I believe. Hopefully I get all these right. I'm not going to go on because I definitely don't remember any after that. But, so the Mortal Instruments, which is City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, would be first publication-wise, but chronologically, Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince would be first because Infernal Vices takes place years before the Mortal Instruments ever did, and those are how the sequence of events goes. Now for me, technically, I don't need to read them in chronological order, which I feel like chronological order usually happens anyway if you're following along with an author like from the get-go most of the times. But like if you're coming into a series later, I know some people have some ideas on like how you should read it, and one of those being the most, I guess, talked about in a way would be the C.S. Lewis Chronicles of Narnia series. Now I read this series in chronological order because I wanted to. I was fully aware that there was a publication order, and I was fully aware that there was a chronological order. I wasn't aware of like that there was a debate between the whole thing, so I didn't really take it that seriously. But I was reading this blog or article or whatever, I'll link it down below, and it was talking about like how C.S. Lewis himself, like he didn't even know that he was like gonna do like a whole Chronicles of Narnia series. Like he wrote one, he wrote another one, he wasn't sure, and then he wrote more, and then he wrote more. But there's a letter of this boy asking him how to read it in order, and you can interpret it in different ways, and most would be a way of like it doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know, you guys let me know your opinions if you read this. But some people are really strong about the whole publication part, and some people are really strong for the chronological part. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't care how you read it. For me, I liked reading it in chronological order, and I wanted to read it in chronological order. And it's one of the few series where I felt like that. But usually, you're reading a book series in chronological order anyway, especially if you're most people don't start with the third book and read backwards if it's a book in series. Now, like if it's like an author like John Green, who I read The Fault in Our Stars first, even though I was fully aware of looking for Alaska, and that one had been on my wish list a whole lot longer. But I read The Fault in Our Stars first, and I loved it, and then I actually read backwards. I read Paper Towns, An Abundance of Catherines, and I still haven't read Looking for Alaska, but doesn't matter, no, because none of his books connect as far as I know. Or if they do, I didn't even notice. Okay? So it's not really a thing. But most books, serious, like most, especially these days, there's a lot of book series, and these days, like, you could look it up a whole lot easier than you could when I was a kid. But usually when I was a kid, they had like a list of books inside, like the first, like after you turn the first page, and they would tell you how it would go in order, and that's usually how I knew about order, even though I didn't always follow it. Like, but mainly with Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys, which I feel like you don't have to read in order anyway, or like with Agatha Christie. I love her Poirot series, and I feel like to this day still one of the few series that I will potentially read out of order. I tried to read in order, but my library overdrive didn't have every single one, so at one point I just said forget about it, and I just read a book long later in the series. Now, do you need to read them in publication order? Probably not. But is there like an overreaching arc of like things that have been happening across each and every single book? As far as I know, not really. But some characters will come back, and you'll probably need to know who they are. Maybe not. Maybe they're not that important. They may just be mentioned in passing, but because they're mystery books. So really, they're self-contained mystery books. Like all of those, like even Goosebumps. I didn't need to read those in order, and I didn't. I went on with my life. But usually, if it's more important, but then again, you have to determine what's important to you. Like, I can't determine it for you. Like with the Joe Ledger series by Jonathan Mayberry, I've only read the first book. But I was told kind of later, because I've been buying his books, that they're not in chronological order, like as he's publishing them. Like someone said, and correct me if this is wrong, but it could still be it could still be used as a point. Like they jump backwards and forwards. I don't know. Like the different stories take places at different points. I was like, okay, but I'm going to read them in publication order. I don't care. I'm not going to read it in chronological order, but only because I just want to read it how I started reading it, even though I only read the first book, because I want to know how it was as it was being published. And I've been doing a lot lately. Most of the book series that I picked up, I'm going to read them. Well, I need to clarify. Most of the book series that have like a lot of books out and that there's sequels and there's prequels, I will read in publication order these days. I can't think right now of any book that I want to read in chronological order, because like the Witcher series, which I've heard a lot about, and I own like one first book and the third book, I'm going to read that in publication order, because it's just going to keep it right in my head for me. But if I were to reread Chronicles of Narnia, I would probably still read it in chronological order. I don't know. I just like to read it how I want to read it, and there are just different things. And I hardly ever read a series out of order. I probably have already said that, but I'm tired. Let me live. Except maybe, I think I read The Lord of the Rings out of order. Now, when I say The Lord of the Rings is one book, and I read the book like The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The King. Like, I read it like that. What I'm talking about is like if you add in The Hobbit. Now, The Hobbit was made first, and The Lord of the Rings second, but I may have read The Lord of the Rings first and then The Hobbit. But they were really close, and I can't remember for the life of me, because I remember that movie. And when I'm talking about the movie, I'm talking about that cartoon Hobbit movie, which followed the book kind of really well. I like that Peter, you know how I like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. I remember I was so excited for the Hobbit, and then they put stuff in there that didn't need to be put in there. Okay, like I was happy you were bringing back Legolas, but did we really need that love triangle? No. The answer is no. So, yeah, in that case, I would feel like it's one of those exceptions to the rule of reading stuff in order, for me, at least. Like, most of the stuff that happened in The Hobbit, like, it's a children's book, and you can definitely see how it differs from The Lord of the Rings, which is an adult book. Like, it was, like, so vastly different, even though, like, I love Bilbo. You can see the differences in him in the different books, and then the type of writing in the books, and just like it just wasn't even like a thought to me that it needed to be read in chronological order. It was just an exception to the rule, I guess. So you guys let me know down below if you guys find the need to read books in order, and if you guys have any exceptions to this rule. Have you ever read a book out of order now or when you were a kid? I feel like most crime books I feel like that's the one where people are like, well, I could just pick this one up, because usually it's a self-contained book, even though it may have the same character going on for the rest of the stories. But yeah, I guess I'm more publication and chronological, because I feel like those, like, I can't really choose between them, because most books are in chronological order when you publish them. Like, there are very, well, probably not very few, but there are, like, some books, like, oh, you know what I just thought about? The Da Vinci Code. I read the Da Vinci Code first before I read Angels and Demons. Like, at first off, though, I didn't even know Da Vinci Code was a series, because Da Vinci Code was so popular. It was the first time I heard about it. And so I read the Da Vinci Code, and before I read it, I saw that there was another book, but I just went ahead because I already bought it, and I read it, and I loved it. And then I read Angels and Demons, and then I read it and loved it. And now when I'm about to reread it, I'm definitely going to be rereading it in publication order. Like, it's stuck like that for me now. But was it a big deal when I started it? No, there are two self-contained stories. I could probably read the last book that came out and still not probably be all that spoiled, but I don't know. Maybe he changed up and put some other, like, mentions of the other ones in there. So I just don't want to be spoiled, so I'm going to read them in publication order. This video is too long. I'm about to go. You guys let me know your thoughts on this subject, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.